Hey guys, I hope you are having a wonderful Saturday. Today I wanted to talk about sleep hygiene. And what I mean when I say sleep hygiene is um, habits you have, either healthy or unhealthy. Today we're going to talk a little bit about both, but basically just tips on how to help you sleep better. I have trouble sleeping. I've had trouble falling asleep at night. I have trouble sometimes waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to go back to sleep. So these are some things that I try to help with that. There's a lot of negative things that can happen if you don't get enough sleep, especially like in your teen years and when your brain is still developing, which now the research is saying it's about 25. So it's really important, especially like I said, for teenagers to make sure that they're getting enough sleep. But even for everybody, it can cause some really negative things if you're not getting enough sleep. So today I just thought I would share some of my tips and tricks that I do, and some of them work, some of them not so much, but if you do have trouble sleeping, I would encourage you to try them out and see if they work for you. The other thing is, I know a lot of people, they'll be like, oh yeah, I tried that for one night and it didn't really help, so I quit doing it. For sleep stuff, it's really important to give it, I would say, like 2 weeks at least to see if it makes a difference. It takes a little while for your body to adjust to some new things. So I would encourage you to try for at least 2 weeks and see if it can help you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the negative things that can happen if you're not getting enough sleep and if your brain is not resting properly. The first thing is that it can have an effect on your memory. It can cause memory loss. If you're just not sleeping enough, it really does. It can take a toll on your memory. The other thing is weight fluctuation. So if you have trouble, if you either gain a lot of weight or you're trying to lose weight, things like that, it's really important to make sure that you're getting enough sleep and giving your body and your brain time to rest. Because obviously your brain is working 24/7, but during the day when you're awake, it's doing more work and it's more active. So it's really important to be able to get a good night's sleep and to kind of turn it off for a little while. Another thing is, if you're not getting enough sleep, it can increase heart problems and your risk for like heart disease and things like that. So that is definitely not a good thing, because that in itself can cause a multitude of problems. Another thing it can cause is a weak immune system. And with a weak immune system, you're more likely to get sick. It's more likely that the sickness will last longer. So like if a person with a good immune system gets sick, it might last for 2 or 3 days, where someone with a weaker immune system, it could last like a week and a half. So getting enough sleep is really beneficial to your immune system. It can also, lack of sleep can also cause high blood pressure, which I don't know how familiar you guys are with high blood pressure, but again, that's not a good thing. It can affect obviously your heart and can cause heart attacks. It's also not good for the stuff going on inside your eyeballs and stuff like that. So high blood pressure is definitely not a good thing. So make sure you're getting enough sleep to tone down on that risk. So now more into the tips of working on getting a good night's sleep. So the first thing is definitely keeping a sleep schedule and keeping it consistent. So even, maybe you're like, oh yeah, it's the weekend. Usually I go to bed at 10, but it's the weekend, so I'm going to go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's not always going to be beneficial. Like, just because you can sleep in through, till noon or 1 o'clock the next day, doesn't mean that is a good idea. It's pretty important to keep your sleep schedule consistent. I mean, I know sometimes you have to, be up later on the weekends and stuff like that. I totally get that. But just try to keep it as consistent as possible. The next thing is regular exercise. That can help with a whole bunch of other things, which maybe we can definitely get into that on another video. But it can help tire your body out so that you're ready to go to sleep. And then also, just work your muscles and stuff. It's just really good to keep some regular exercise. Another tip is taking a hot shower before you go to bed. So if you haven't tried that, I would encourage you to try that. Avoid eating before you go to sleep. So when you eat, obviously your body has to digest that food, so that takes energy, and so sometimes it's harder for you to fall asleep when your body is digesting food. So try to, not eat right before bed. Another thing is avoiding alcohol before you go to sleep. In my opinion, I think you should avoid alcohol all the time, but especially before you go to bed, because that just isn't good for your sleeping patterns. Try avoiding taking long naps during the day. That can definitely, if you sleep throughout the day and then you're not ready to go to bed, so that can make it hard for you to fall asleep, and then also can disrupt that sleeping pattern, because then maybe, you're awake longer since you couldn't fall asleep, and then you're tired the next day, and then you take a nap, and then the whole cycle just continues. So I would really encourage you just to try to not take a nap during the day. And if you do, try to keep it short. Another tip would be reading a book in bed. Sometimes that can make your eyes kind of tired, and then you just get into that mode of sleeping. Another thing is to turn your TV off. I know that's not fun. A lot of people like to lay in bed and watch TV, or look at their tablet, cell phones. That stuff should be turned off. Different research says different things, but at least an hour before you go to bed or you're trying to go to sleep, there's something in the computer screens and cell phones, tablets, all sorts of things like that, called blue light. And what that does is basically it tricks your brain into thinking that it's daytime. So when you're looking at that, then your brain thinks it's daytime, and then it won't let you shut down to go to sleep. So sometimes that can really prolong your sleeping, being able to fall asleep. So I would definitely encourage that one, to try to be off screens like an hour before you go to bed. That includes cell phones. I know you like to text and Snapchat up until you fall asleep, but try it for a couple weeks, like I said, without being on social media and that stuff, and being off screens, and see if that can help you sleep better. Another thing is keeping your temperature right, like the room temperature. Sometimes it's really hard to fall asleep if it's too hot or if it's too cold. Depending on what season, you might have your house adjusted a little bit differently, but just try to find something that's a little bit cooler so that you can stay cool and let your body temperature drop a little bit, and off to sleep. So that is what I have for you today on sleep hygiene. Hopefully then, if you get better sleep at night, it's easier to wake up in the morning, and then you just have a more productive day. Definitely, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Comment your questions, and I will get back to you. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your weekend.